I've got one final question for you, but it's maybe a detailed answer actually. But one of the questions I'm often asked is, how do we find those small grassroots organisations? What is it we do as a foundation that someone couldn't just do by going onto Google and finding a charity in their local area or a small group? Where do we add that value?
Well, our main focus is what we call micro groups. So small organisations, maybe with just a part-time member of paid staff or one full-time member of staff, but mainly delivered by volunteers, and so not registered charities quite often. And sometimes they don't have websites, so you can't find them on Google. So we spend quite a lot of time doing outreach events and what funding fairs we call them, where we'll travel around the county, we'll set up a session, we'll network madly in order to try and promote the event and reach organisations. And they'll come along and they'll listen to what we have to say. We'll do one-to-one chats at those events as well. So it's not just sitting listening, in a plenary. It's being able to have a proper conversation with a grant manager about their particular organisation and their needs and what they want to get some funding for. And those are really successful, actually. We've done a few virtually during lockdown, and they've worked well virtually, not as well as face-to-face, I don't think, but we'll be getting back to doing those in the near future when we're able to. So that's a really good way of reaching groups. And also those little groups, they talk to each other as well. So there's quite a lot of word of mouth goes on. And we'll get, we'll get kind of recommendations. People will phone and email in for consultations, which is really positive. We liaise with other partners on this as well. So there are other networks, sort of third sector networks around the county, and we're linked into all of those networks. So we'll promote our events via them as well. So there's a much wider reach in terms of our own network is huge, but plugging into all the other existing networks makes the reach even better. So we spend a lot of time, and we kind of promote ourselves as being approachable and friendly, and I think we are, and I think that works, especially for those smaller groups who may not have a lot of experience of fundraising and applying for grants and are a bit unsure about it and might think the form looks a bit tricky, although it isn't tricky. And actually we're working on making it even less tricky and making it simpler right now. So we're very proactive on social media, and I know a lot of groups pick us up on that. We spend a lot of time nurturing. So that all makes us quite an attractive grant maker for those tiny little groups. And actually during the last year, during the pandemic, the number of new to us organisations that found their way to us was really high. It was a much higher percentage than normal, which was a very positive kind of silver lining for us of the whole COVID thing. And many of those organisations have now come back to us for a second grant. So we're kind of building up a relationship with them. So we put a lot of effort into reaching small groups, and there's always more to do, of course, but we think we're on the right track with it, definitely.
Great, Natalie. And I think possibly for everyone that's listening, they might think, well, that's actually quite a lot. You actually do a lot in terms of that kind of service that we provide to fund holders. That must be, an expensive option rather than setting up their own foundation. But and obviously we are very transparent about our fee structures and how that works. But as a basic, we never take any more than 10% of a total donation in order to carry out all this work. And that can be, from everything that Natalie said, from, setting up an actual bespoke fund to promoting it, to assessing applications, to giving out grants, to monitoring impact and reporting back on that. And that, all of that work we would do. So if someone was considering setting up a fund for £100,000, then no more than £10,000 of that would be used to support and pay for the work that we do and everything that Natalie's just described. That's what giving through a community foundation is all about, really.